segment regarding Homeland Security and what that's doing for the security of our country. If you're keeping count, 9 times now, 9 times the Senate Democrats have voted to keep the government closed. All the House Democrats except one voted September 19th to shut it down. So this is 10 total times now that Democrats in Congress have voted to close the government. And we know what that means for real people. We know what it means for our troops and our Border Patrol agents and TSA agents and air traffic controllers and everybody who relies upon services around the country. It's very real. And so today marks yet another day of American families feeling the very real personal and economic strain of this reckless decision that our Democrat colleagues keep making. They want the United States government to remain closed, and they seem not to care about the pain that it's causing. They have offered no plan. They have offered no strategy. They have offered no common sense path forward for ending this situation. And so many of you have asked all of us, how will it end? We have no idea. It's up to the Democrats, and they have to decide it. And judging by their outrageous behavior, the Democrats appear perfectly happy to keep the political theater going while real people suffer. And that's why House Republicans made the responsible decision for our members to spend this week in their districts working for the people. They're helping their constituents. They're helping the American people navigate the mess that the Democrats have created. Staying back to work with our constituents was a decision that we made very thoughtfully and we made collectively as a group, House Republicans. We have so much of that work to do. That's not some talking point. It's not some strategic tactic. We made that decision out of urgent necessity. So I want to highlight here just this morning, just very briefly, just a couple of examples, a small sample of some of the very important work that House Republicans are doing on the ground right now to help Americans through this difficult time. In the state of Michigan, for example, our members are sitting down with veterans, men and women who risked their lives for our country, and they're struggling now because the services they depend on, health services, for example, have come to a halt thanks to the Schumer shutdown. So in Michigan, our Republicans from the House are there working through those situations. In Texas, many of our Republican colleagues have met with some of our brave Border Patrol agents down on that southern border who are still reporting for duty without a paycheck. In Montana, Congressman Ryan Zinke helped park rangers who are keeping the parks open as best they can for families and travelers, even as they themselves go without a paycheck. Across the Midwest, we have members who are meeting with local and regional airports to hear firsthand how furloughs and blocked paychecks there are hurting the people who keep our skies safe. Really important stuff. In rural communities around the country, Republicans are working hand in hand with their local hospitals to make sure that the $50 billion rural hospital fund that Republicans got signed into law in July 4th is accessed. It reaches the people who need it. And they're doing that work while the Democrats are demanding to kill that essential fund that is in their counterproposal for the CR, one of the many outrageous things they've claimed they want to do. And everywhere across America right now, we're helping small business owners and farmers and ranchers and service coordinators navigate frozen loans and delayed emergency funds and growing uncertainty about how to keep serving their communities. So all across the country, Republicans are dealing with the very real and painful consequences facing real Americans. Now, that's happening on the Republican side. And what's happening on the Democrat side? You can see it for yourself. Compare what I just told you with what they're doing. Look at their own behavior. Look at their actions. Don't listen to the words that people are saying. Look at what they're doing. Chuck Schumer and Democrats over the last 10 days, here's a small sample of their activity, okay? We've seen performative stunts and TikToks and photo shoots across every inch of this Capitol. We've seen Democrats actually toast themselves on the balcony of the DCCC last night, while their colleagues voted in the Senate to keep the government closed for the 10th time. We've seen not one but 2 failed publicity stunts right outside my own office, the latest of which ended in a congresswoman storming the entrance and berating a Capitol police officer who, by the way, is protecting her without pay. And last night, we even saw, I didn't see it, many of you saw it, CNN host the first socialist town hall where Bernie Sanders and AOC said the quiet parts out loud. They don't know what they want to end this shutdown. They couldn't provide a single viable solution for the mess that they themselves have gleefully created. And by the way, those are the real leaders of the Democrat Party. We all know it. AOC, and Bernie. Good luck with that. And amid all that, Chuck Schumer is actually bragging that every day gets better for his party. As you know, that is his words, not ours. All this would be laughable if it didn't come at the cost of American families, and it really is deadly serious. If it were up to Republicans alone, we would not be in this mess. We'd be up here negotiating and debating openly and transparently on the issues impacting Americans' lives. But as I've said repeatedly, Democrats slammed the brakes on legislative business when they decided to shut down the government for their partisan political purposes. The progress we made on appropriations and the conversations that were underway on the COVID-era Obamacare subsidies and all those issues, all that sits at a standstill until Democrats reopen the government. As soon as 5 Senate Democrats come to their senses and break ranks and turn the lights back on, House Republicans are anxious to get back to legislative session and to pick up our unfinished business. We have a lot yet to do. Until then, I'll continue to share the facts from this podium every morning to try to get this message directly to the American people. Republicans will continue serving on the job in our communities on behalf of the American people that we represent. I'm going to conclude this morning by saying this again. There's an incredible contrast right now between the two parties that could not be more clear. As we say here every day, this is not your grandfather's Democratic Party. It truly has become the far left, Marxist left, that are running that whole operation. And it has real effects on real people. And I just want you to, I'll highlight again the split screen of what we're seeing. In America right now, there are two diametrically opposed visions for the country, and you should look at the actions of elected officials and not their words. And what are the actions? President Trump and Republicans are delivering for the American people. We have cut their taxes. We are removing red tape and regulations to get the economy humming again. We have ended the border crisis, virtually 0 crossings in the last 4 months under President Trump. We are ending the crime crisis around America, taking heroic measures to make sure that happens. We're cutting fraud, waste, and abuse out of government and making government more efficient and effective for the people. And right now, President Trump is resolving international conflicts, restoring peace through strength around the globe. That's just a small sampling of what's been done by Republicans in the last 9 months. And what have Democrats done the last 9 months? On the split screen, look at the other side. They've shut down the government. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Put all the gimmicks and the talking points aside and look at the indisputable facts and evidence of what is happening right here. There could not be a stronger contrast between the two parties. And I don't know how more simply we can say that. With all that, I'm really happy to introduce our good friend from New York. Chairman Andrew Garbarino is the chair of our House Committee on Homeland Security, and he's here with us this morning to tell us a little bit more about the grave consequences of the Democrat shutdown on America's national security. It could not be more serious than it is right now. Andrew, go ahead.
Thank you, Speaker.
Sure.
Thank you, Speaker, and Leader Scalise and Chairman McClain. Thank you all for being here today. The Senate Democrats' decision to shut down this government for cheap political points lacks any common sense and is undermining the Department of Homeland Security's core mission, as well as the people tasked with upholding it. Nearly 95% of DHS's workforce is considered essential, and that's rightfully so. But that means they're at work right now, and they're not getting paid. More than 63,000 CBP personnel, including U.S. Border Patrol, are continuing their steadfast commitment to securing our borders. More than 61,000 TSA personnel are continuing their mission to protect the traveling public and keep the skies safe. More than 8,000 Secret Service personnel are still carrying out their no-fail mission to safeguard our nation's leaders. More than 49,000 U.S. Coast Guard personnel are serving to protect our maritime borders. I'm grateful that President Trump and Secretary Noem are taking steps to ensure that the Coast Guard personnel are getting paid, just like our military during the shutdown. And I appreciate the department's continued work to support frontline law enforcement officers. I think, though, it's also very vital that we ensure that TSA security officers are compensated as well. Just because the government shut down doesn't mean people aren't still flying. We owe all of these men and women at DHS a debt of gratitude for their continued service. But the shutdown is not just about personnel. It's undercutting our Homeland Security posture. A lapse in government funding prevents DHS from moving forward with critical new investments that enable us to stay ahead of rapidly evolving threats. New contracts are put on hold, and proactive engagements with security partners are postponed. Shutdowns also disrupt the disbursement of vital grants from the Homeland Security Department to our state and local law enforcement partners. This undermines preparedness efforts and makes our communities less safe. Voting against the CR also, the Democrats have allowed crucial DHS authorities to expire. One of those is the Cybersecurity Information Sharing Act of 2015. Without that, 90% of our critical infrastructure is owned by private companies. They can't communicate with us right now. They can't tell us when there's a cyber attack because this lapsed. Every second we go without the ability for them to share that information makes us less safe. They've also the counter drone authority has also lapsed. That was in the CR. Without this in place, agencies may not be able to swiftly take down malicious drones before they threaten U.S. airspace. There are dozens more. In short, this shutdown is making our country less safe. And I implore Senate Democrats to do the right thing and reopen the government now. With that, I would like to bring up Leader Scalise.
Thank you. Well, you just heard a very stark, grim reality from Chairman Garbarino of what Chuck Schumer's shutdown is doing to our nation's ability to protect the homeland. The Department of Homeland Security is one of the most critical in terms of our ability to keep Americans safe here at home. And they're doing incredible work. And, you know, fortunately, like Chairman Garbarino said, 95% of the employees are deemed essential, but they're on the job not getting paid. But beyond that, he also pointed out grants are not going out. The sharing of information on things like cybersecurity is not happening. These are real devastating consequences of Chuck Schumer's shutdown. And nobody on the Democrat side can still articulate the reason why they're doing it beyond the obvious. And the obvious reason is Chuck Schumer being scared for his political future. Scared from who? From AOC. And last night, as the speaker mentioned, we saw two of the Democrat Party leaders, Bernie Sanders and AOC, at a forum, town hall, whatever you want to call it, on CNN. And they were laughing, they were guffawing like it's some kind of game. In fact, when AOC was pressed to say, what is it that y'all are shutting the government down over? She couldn't even give an articulate answer. This is what she said, quote, "I think we need to see ink on paper. I think we need to see legislation. And I think we need to see these things passed on the floor of the House and Senate and signed by the president." Can anybody tell me what she's talking about? I mean, they filed an alternative bill that everybody knows is not serious, $1.5 trillion in new spending to do, among other things, to gut the Rural Hospital Fund, the $50 billion that we put in place, the largest investment in rural hospitals in our country's history. They want to gut that to give free health care to illegals. That's not going to happen, and that's not a serious proposal. But in fact, when you get back to the heart of the question, and that is Chuck Schumer fighting for his political life in New York, they did ask AOC that question. You know, are you going to primary Chuck Schumer? And she laughed, and Bernie tried to bail her out of the question, but ultimately she wouldn't give a direct response to that, because that's really what this shutdown is about. Is Chuck Schumer afraid of the AOC wing of the party primarying and beating him in New York? And so he's just concerned about his political future, and he's willing to jeopardize the lives of the American people, to jeopardize our homeland security